Well, good evening. As all of you know, I'm Carol Burdett and I'm the president of the CART board. And what a great way to start the new year doing CART business. I've been so excited. I get to sometimes follow Tiffany around and I see the great things that we're doing. And I couldn't be happier to be part of this organization. So, but I'm not going to take up a lot of time. I'm sure there's lots of things that Tiffany's got planned for us to talk about this evening. So I'm going to turn it back over to her and look forward to hearing from you all as she leads our conversation this evening. So thank you, Tiffany, and thank all of you for being with us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Carol. Thank you for being here. You guys know Carol is an amazing board president. She has 6 months left on her term, and then she moves to the immediate past president, and she has been rocking and rolling since day one, and we are going to miss her in that role, but we're excited for all the other leaders that are following her, and they'll have big shoes to fill, that's for sure. So we appreciate her taking the time to be with us tonight as well as each of you. As Carol said, this is by far a group effort, and everything that we do is contingent upon what you guys do in your communities, in your clubs, in your districts, and we are very grateful. I do have a couple of updates to share with you to kick us off. And then we'll move through our agenda. We'll have time at the end for questions, but if something pressing comes up, feel free to put it in the chat or raise your hand on Zoom, and we will get to you for sure. We want to make sure that this is giving you all the information that you guys need. As you may recall, every month we have a to-do, a challenge, if you will, for our district CART chairs, but other folks can certainly participate as well. I want to review the first 6 months, and if you have not had a chance to do those yet, you can still do them. And then I want to review what number 7 is for the month of January as well. So if you recall, in July, we asked each district chair to meet with their district governor to talk about goals, to talk about plans for the year. And just because we're in month 7 of the year does not mean you still cannot do that. If you've not had a chance to meet with your district governor, or if you're a club chair, maybe meet with your club president and find out what your club or district goals are for the year. It's still not too late to talk about those. In August, we asked you to introduce yourself to your clubs or via P-mail, which is you can do through DACDB. And if you don't know how to do that, feel free to reach out. I can help you with that. We have some other folks who can. And each of your districts has something called a DCO, a District Communications Officer, and that person can help you to set up a CART committee and then to send an email with one touch of a button through DACDB that is a personalized email. And I'm happy to help you with that if you need it, but it is the best way for you to communicate with either district chairs or with clubs, with club chairs or with members of your club and others in your district. And every piece of data that you need is either in our online donor portal at mycartfund.org, on our website, which is cartfund.org, or in DACDB. And I know that's 3 different places for you to go to find information. But since you're already a Rotarian, you know that you have to do that all the time. You go to DACDB, you go to myrotary.org, you might go to your club website, you might go to your district website. So just know that everything that you should need is in one of those places. And if you can't find it, feel free to send me an email and ask. I'll be happy to point you in the right direction. In September, we asked you to consider putting together a district competition, a way to reward and recognize clubs. Our suggestion, but you can certainly do it however you would like, is that you award the top 3 clubs in total giving and the top 3 clubs in per capita giving, and that you also consider a third award, which is the club with the most members of the Roger Ackerman Circle, which is, of course, our recurring donor program. And so there's a way for you to recognize those clubs if you chat with your district governor or your district awards chair. Perhaps you can do that at a at a district conference or at a district awards night, something like that. And you may come up with something that you want to present on behalf of your district. Maybe your district already does banner badges or ribbons or banners or things like that, and you want to be consistent. That is up to each individual district to make that decision. What we do on behalf of CART at our annual meeting is recognize the top 3 clubs in giving and the top 3 districts in giving. And we will be doing that again in July of this year at our annual meeting. Because our annual meeting is in July this year, we will have finished last year's numbers, which we did not get to do, and this current year. So we'll be giving out 2 sets of 2 years worth of awards at this year's annual meeting, and then we'll be back onto a regular cycle. In October, we asked you to consider showcasing some of your donors. Perhaps there's someone that has had a fundraiser to raise additional funds for CART. Perhaps there's someone who goes out and speaks on our behalf or encourages other members of your club to participate, or does a CART minute every week at their club meeting. And maybe it's someone that made a major gift, or maybe it's a $100 gift, but that was major in that club. It doesn't really matter what the amount is, but it's a way for you to showcase and recognize them if they allow it. As you all know, many donors prefer to remain anonymous, and we will honor that if they ask us that. But you can have that discussion with folks in your district as well. In November, we asked you to do some social media support, to follow all of our accounts, either personally or from your club or from your district. And that may require you reaching out to your club PI chair, to your district public image chair, and to not only follow those accounts, but share what we are posting and then tag us in your post, whether it's your individual accounts or your club or your district. And again, you may have to have those discussions with other people, but if you tag us, then I get that notification and I can reshare. I hear from folks all the time that you didn't share whatever, and I didn't know about it because I never saw it. So you're welcome to tag me personally. As some of you do, you can tag CART, and either way, I will get that notification. And we hope that you will consider putting something on your social media accounts as well. And then in December, for those of you who are with us, we talked a little bit about the importance of sharing our research, because that's what we are truly all about. And you can always find stories of articles that have been published by many of our researchers on our social media accounts and in our monthly newsletter. And you can also find stories on our website as well. So we encourage you to share that information. It's important that people know not only the thing that we always say, which is that 100% of all of their donations are going directly to research, but also that they know what kind of research is being done and what kind of results are out there. So the challenge, the to-do item for the month of January is pets, conferences, and assemblies. And I'm going to use the word pets because where I live in the Carolinas, they've chosen to continue to use Carolinas pets. But I also recognize that in Pennsylvania, it's tri-state PELS. In wherever you live, it might be different. President-elect training or learning seminar, and those are coming up in the spring. We manage those. We take care of having a presence and volunteers at all of those so that you don't have to worry about it. And one of the reasons we do that is because the majority of them are multi-district pets. District 7770 is one of the only ones that actually, and Milton maybe, they have their own separate pets. So then it's appropriate for that district person to kind of coordinate everything. But what we used to find was that when we have 7 districts at a pets, and we had one district chair there, it got very confusing for people. And we were trying to hand out 7 different pieces of paper and 7 different business cards, and it got very confusing. So we manage that with our division directors and our board members. And what we ask of you as a district chair is that you reach out to your incoming district governor. Don't do it this week. They are in Orlando for International Assembly at their governor-elect training. But we ask that you reach out to them and find out when are you going to be doing some district training that you might have 10 or 15 minutes on the agenda to talk about the plans for next year. And if it's going to be someone else that's the district CART chair next year, I hope that you'll help them know what they need to be doing to get ready. We do have a lot of districts that transition every year. So even a small display or a handout, even just postcards or giving out buckets, all of that can make a huge impact and giving us visibility very early on as we plan for the next Rotary year. So be sure to work with your district governor-elect for those training sessions, and be thinking about your district conferences, because those are coming up for most districts in the spring, and we would love to have a presence there for you to manage, whether that's a display in the House of Friendship, or if it's a speaker. There's myself, there's a lot of board members who are able to travel and do very in-depth presentations, but we can also help you get one of the researchers that will come. If you will cover their travel expenses then and get them to your conference, if your district governor will allow you to schedule one, we can help you find one that is not too far away. Depending on where you live, we can help coordinate that. Even a fundraiser at the district conference, or as we mentioned earlier, some awards, some reward and recognition, all of those visuals will help. And in addition to that, if you are a district chair, please remember that you get to award one of the Changemaker Award medals, and that might be the good time to do that is at your district conference in front of everybody if that person is going to be there. So let us know if you need help getting a speaker. Let me know if you have selected someone that you'd like to recognize as your volunteer of the year that we call a Changemaker, and I can help you with that. Any questions about those to-do items?
Taking forever. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
I had a question on the sharing of the research. You said to grab that, from the different articles. Is that information vetted, like seriously vetted? Because I did a presentation at my own club last week and got bombarded with questions on information I gave from information from our website. Now, these are doctors, retired doctors, pharmacists, trying to ask a ton of information. My spiel is always, I am not medically inclined whatsoever. I am trained in raising money. But this is where we are told to go to get our information. And, and then I tell them about lunch a la carte and other various ways for them to learn, the annual meeting. So I just want to make sure that that information is vetted.
Anything that I share comes either from one of two places. From number one, from one of our researchers' reports that they write and give to us, or number two, from a published journal that they have contributed to.
Thank you.
Those are the only two places. So if you send me a text and say, hey, look at this story that was on 60 Minutes last night, or if you send me a text or an email that says, here's a link to an article that says cranberry juice is going to cure Alzheimer's, I'm never going to share those unless it is directly tied to something that one of our research, because as you all know, there are hundreds of studies out there and there are hundreds of news stories, some of which, as you say, probably are not completely correct. And so the only two places I will gather data to share is either from their final reports, which we have permission to share. We do not share anything from their intermediate reports. Their progress reports is what they call them, from their final reports, or from a journal or a published document that they are quoted in. Thank you for asking. That's a great question. I have Google alerts set up for all of our researchers and the CART Fund. So anytime we are in the newspaper anywhere, and I say newspaper loosely, anytime we are in the media or any one of those researchers, then I get a notification and I'm able to go and read the article and see if it's something we want to share. Many of them are about things that aren't even related to what we do, so I just delete those. We also have a researcher with a very common name, Paul Murphy. Every time the words Paul Murphy shows up in a Google alert, I get it, even if it's not our researcher. So I delete quite a few of those as well. But that's an excellent question, Andy. Thank you. And I think you do handle it the right way by saying, which is exactly what I say. I'm not a medical professional. I am happy to share what our researchers tell us and our review committee, what they share with us, and point you to their research directly. Thank you. Any other questions? Bill Parker.
On this subject, if you'll just bear with me, our CART researchers have identified that the earliest you can diagnose Alzheimer's is the best, because Alzheimer's occurs up to 20 years before the first external symptoms. And by that time, the damage is irreparable. And some of our CART research successes have been in early diagnosis. The first one is a researcher from Kentucky who came up with the very first in vivo diagnosis of Alzheimer's. Prior to that, Alzheimer's was only diagnosed positively at autopsy. 2 years later, we had another doctor who had the ability to diagnose Alzheimer's using the fluid in the eye. And then most recently at George Washington University in St. Louis, we had a doctor who came up with a blood test that identified a biomarker that would positively identify Alzheimer's up to 20 years before the first external sign. So if you want to talk about successes, those are the successes that are really smack you right between the eyes. I hope that helps.
Thank you, Bill. So the next thing on my agenda tonight, and our speaker that was planning to share an update with you guys was unable to make it tonight, but I know that between Bill Parker and myself, we can give you guys this update, that we are pleased to announce that the new Rotary Club for Alzheimer's Research is officially chartered with 15 members. It is in District 7670. Bill Parker and I are both part of that new club, along with two other past district governors. They keep making the joke it is where PDGs go to pass on. I don't know, but Michelle Garashielik, who is the current president of the Rotary Club of Four Seasons, was the sponsoring club. So this club, for months, well, for a year or more now, I've been saying that club. But now that I am a member of that club, I will say that this club, our club, is working on a program for friends of Alzheimer's research, because what we have heard are many people who are interested in what the club is doing, but they don't want to leave their own club, and it's not an effort to recruit new members, but they want to be involved and be supportive. So there is a proposal that's going around in our club right now, and Tammy will be presenting that to you guys in February, since she wasn't able to be here tonight. But that club, and I know several of you guys actually join it every once in a while online, meets the third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. And it's ALZ something. I don't remember the website. Do you remember it, Bill? If not, it's on the Facebook page. But
it's alzclub.org, I believe.
alzclub.org.
Yes.
Click on that. It takes you directly to the Zoom call that evening. So feel free to join in, learn more. If you have people in your district who have left Rotary for other reasons, but they have an interest in CART, and we are finding there are lots of those that still give to CART, even though they are no longer Rotarians, we would be happy to send them a link and have them join a meeting one night to learn more as well. All right, so the next thing on my agenda is to talk again. I mentioned this at the December meeting, but for those of you who were not here, we had our deadline for the LOIs for our grant applications for letters of intent, and typically we get 40 to 45 applications every year. In 2024, it was a record year with 92 applications. And in December of 2025, we really blew that record out of the water with 272 applications for grants this year. And so it has been a huge undertaking. We are very grateful to our scientific review committee, who last year said, we can't do 92 again. This is too much for 3 people. And then we emailed them and said, hey, guess what? We didn't get you 92 again. We got you 3 times that many. So we had to create an entirely new process on the fly. Dr. Gary Goforth and I and Carol and several others worked hard to get this going, and worked closely with our scientific review panel. And we are back on schedule. We should have all of the folks who are reviewing grants now are due to have their results into us by this Friday, the 16th, with a score of those first 272, at which point the review committee is going to narrow that down, and then they will request full applications, full proposals from a limited number of people. We have had lots of discussions the last several months with different researchers who are either existing grant recipients or previous grant recipients, and they continually tell us that the money from the CART fund is critical because of the government cuts, because of NIH funding questions and cuts, and all of the other things that are going on in the world today. And they are very grateful. And we believe that is one of the reasons why we are receiving more applications. I do believe the other reason is word of mouth. Not only like what you guys are doing in your clubs and districts, but what the actual researchers are doing as well, telling others what they are learning and what they've been awarded and things like that. So in September, when we were in Jacksonville for the annual Zone Summit, Dr. Goforth and I had an opportunity to speak at the Mayo Clinic, and we had two researchers there, and they said, would you be willing to share an update on who you are and what you do with all of our scientists who might be interested in applying for a grant? So we did, and there were not only 25 or 30 people in the room, but they Zoomed us to Mayo in Minnesota and Mayo in Arizona. And those people filled out applications, let me tell you. And so what we're finding is that it is truly what you are doing is so critical, and we are so appreciative. So that's where we are on letters of intent. We have given the committee a little extra time because our annual meeting is not till the end of July. As a reminder, we'll go over that again, but July 30th and 31st in Charlotte, North Carolina. But because they have that extra time, they're not feeling rushed to go through these applications. They have a chance to really review each and every one of them. Now, that being said, we typically see how much money we have raised by the time we make the awards, and that's how the board determines how much money is available to give away. And if you missed that announcement in the month of December, it's changed again since then. So I will say that the executive committee and the board of directors has made a recommendation. It is not written in stone, right, Carol? It could still change higher or lower. But as of right now, the board is looking at giving away at least $3.5 million this coming year. So we will, it could be much more. It could be, Carol, I think Carol is saying at least 4 million. And I think that is easily possible. But it also is dependent upon the quality of the applications. And we want to make sure that that is perfectly clear. We're not going to say because we have this amount of money, we're definitely going to give it away. But the review committee feels like they're going to look to see which projects have the most potential, and they are going to do that. So our financials, which is the next report, because it's the end of the second quarter of our year, we are now officially 6 months done with this year. At this point last fiscal year, we had raised $374,000. As of today, this fiscal year, we've raised $1.7 million in the first 6 months of the year. And there's another major gift that's on its way this week that we'll announce in the next few days. As soon as it hits the bank account, we're not going to announce that. I called Carol on Friday and said, oh my gosh, you're not going to believe this. But we're not going to announce it till it's in the bank account. But
can you give that number again, Tiffany?
Yes, ma'am. Year to date right now, we are at 1.7 million.
That's great. Thank you.
Yes, and because of our contributions, and because we award them on every 8 months staggered, we have investments, and so that money for investments goes back in to be able to award as well. So in the bank right now, well, at the end of December, again, that has changed as well, but at the end of December, the available money for grants was $3.84 million in the bank right now, 3.84. But again, there's a large gift still coming in, actually two that we know of for sure. So that number will change drastically in the next week or so, I believe. So all of that to say that we could not do this without each and every one of you. And the fact that we received 272 letters of intent and requests for our funds means that the need is great. And we cannot stop fundraising as much as we'd like to. I would love to look at the board and go, Look, we've raised 1.7 million this year. I'm taking the next 6 months off, but that we all know is not going to happen. So we will continue to work hard to do as much as we can, and to honor our donors, and to try to meet the needs of our researchers. So I'm happy to answer questions about that if you have it before we move on to, I also have financials to report for you at the end of 6 months for our operating organization. But does anybody have questions about any of that yet?
I do.
Yes, ma'am, Marlene.
Okay, it was 1.7 million for this year, but what was the previous number?
From last year's year to date was
I think so, yeah.
Yes, was 374,000. But we got a major gift, like, so last fiscal year, we got the $1 million gift in the spring, and so it came later. We got $1 million donor in August of this year to kick the year off. And so even if you took that out of the equation, we would have gone from 374,000 to 718,000. So we've still doubled where we were year to date, even without the extra million. But getting that million in August certainly moved us forward a little faster. Kevin, you have a question?
Yeah, Tiffany, thanks for the information. This is fantastic. You said last year you received 92 letters of intent. Any idea
Correct.
what you received the year before that? Just trying to establish a trajectory if they're generally going up.
Somewhere between 40 and 45.
Okay.
Which was our typical average year. Every year we got somewhere between 40, 45.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll probably give you a call one day this week, Kevin, and catch up with you. I have something to share with you. So
Terrific, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Andy Taylor, sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Trouble. Any chance, and maybe not now is the time, but can you share how to go about finding these people, these $1 million donors? I mean, I know who the one is for the other district, but like, what are some great ways, or if you even want to just, put together some tips on how to maybe go about finding these people?
That's a great idea. We can make that a topic for next month if you guys would like. We can talk about things to look for, things to ask about, things to keep an eye on, and then how to go about even setting up to make an ask. Absolutely. Carol, maybe you can.
A little bit about like how you can get people to set it up in their trusts for money to go to CART, or using their what is it, the
The required minimum
designated funds, or designated funds, like their their what is it? Why am I drawing a blank?
RMDs and
Thank you. Yes, that's it.
required minimum distributions. Mm-hmm. Yep. So we typically do have that about once a year as a topic, but we can certainly add to that, how do you look for major gifts? And honestly, we want to remind everybody that a major gift is different in every district. I mean, I do believe there's $1 million donor in every district. We just don't know who they are. But it might be that there's someone in your district, and I'll just address this quickly, but we can definitely put this on an agenda. There might be someone that you know of that is really inspired and motivated by challenges. And you think about what the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation or the Gates Foundation has done for polio, and having that match, every time we raise 50 million, they'll donate another 100 million. Maybe there's a match in a district of, maybe it's $5,000, maybe it's $100,000. I know a lot of clubs, individual clubs, do that with a donor who will match up to $1,000, a year or something. So we absolutely could look at that. And in our organization, we typically consider $1,000 or more a year to be a significant gift, because our history was loose change, pocket change. And so for us, $1,000 in a year was a significant gift. And we are very fortunate that we have folks that do that regularly, and we have folks that do a couple of thousand from RMD, or 5,000 from their charitable fund, or there was one from Greg's district that did a $10,000 gift from his charitable fund and wanted to remain anonymous, and so we haven't really recognized publicly that, but Greg knows that we talked to he and I have talked about that situation. So there might be somebody, I mean, if you think about it, if you could come up with 10 people in your district who each gave $10,000, you just increase your district giving by 100,000. And that's significant. So we can certainly put that on an agenda. I like that idea. Thank you.
It would just be neat to have just the conversation, not even just the conversation starter, how to go about finding these people.
Well, that's hard because, we can see who's making major gifts at the Rotary Foundation, but a lot of times it's just people who are passionate about Alzheimer's and have the capacity to give, and no one's ever asked them.
So like a plea on social media, because that seems to be the only way to get in front of somebody. I'm not talking about just Rotarians. I'm talking about people out in the community.
I think it requires us talking about it more and sharing it on our personal accounts so that people are aware. But I don't think putting it on social media is going to get you $1 million donor. But I think it means, asking people, who do you know that we can talk to? We have had conversations in years past about doing on behalf of CART. We have not ever done it, but it could be done in an individual district, a fireside chat for donors. I know the Rotary Foundation does them all the time, and we had many discussions about doing them for CART. We just have never really had an opportunity because we've been doing other things. But that's something that a district might look at doing, and putting together 10 people at someone's home for cocktails or wine and cheese one night and having a discussion, even if it's about major gifts or deferred giving, planned giving, all of that. So. Mm-hmm. Michelle.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Uh-huh.
I was just going to share that sometimes it's an opportunity to look in your community for other agencies and who are the large donors. And not that you're stealing them away, but those are people that you might be connected with somewhere around the way and you don't know you're connected to them. But normally, very often I would look at programs from other agencies and things and see who are the donors in our community. And you can research that as well. I know Carol's done that before too, I'm sure. But that's one way. I mean, truthfully, you never know who your next donor is going to be. And that's why when you're out there, the more you talk about it, you just never know where that next dollar is going to come from. Mm-hmm. So.
Right. Thank you. Any other questions? All right, we'll add that to our agenda for next month. So next on the list was our public image tip of the month, and I'm excited to share with you guys. Tim Radford unfortunately was not able to join us tonight either. He had a veterans event that came up tonight that he needed to be at, as you guys probably recall. He's also the mayor of his town, and so he was unable. I excused him for a veterans event. I mean, let's be honest, right? And so, however, we have in the works, and it is not ready to debut yet, but I've had several meetings and I actually saw a graphic on it this week. We are working with DACDB, and they are going to be rolling out a brand new app for the CART Fund. It will be an app store that is downloadable from your app store, and it will solely be the CART Fund. It will mimic what you may already be using with Ignite. It will be very similar to that. So if you're using Ignite already in your club or district, you will have at least seen what it looks like and be familiar with the format. But it's going to allow people to make a donation immediately. It will allow people to look up their giving history. It will allow people to share pictures directly with me so that I can share it to social media. It will allow you, there was one other thing. I can't remember the other thing off the top of my head, but it's a work in progress and it's very exciting. I have, as I mentioned to you guys earlier, I have 1 million pieces of paper on my desk. So that's not it. So just trust me when I say it's going to be incredible, and we are excited, and stay tuned. We will have more to share with you as that rolls out. And in the same field of public image, I will also add that we are always seeking volunteers who are proficient in social media and would like to help. We do a lot of posts where we schedule them in advance, but we are looking for volunteers who are proficient in Canva, who enjoy using LinkedIn, and also, of course, Facebook, YouTube, and X. or anyone who is proficient in video editing and creation. All of those things are, of course, things we're always looking for volunteers. So if there's someone in your club or district that you know of that might be interested, let me know. Any questions about public image? Don, yes.
Is Chris Jones involved with that?
With the app, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, he's a member of my club, so I'll talk to him.
Oh yes, no, yeah, it's him and Patrick that I've been meeting with multiple times. They're creating the app, and they're very excited. So we had a nice call right before Christmas I did with Patrick and Chris, and then I met with Patrick again this week. Or last week, I guess it was. So it's coming along. Yeah. They are. Since Chris is in your club and he's in Kevin's district as well, if you guys happen to have a conversation with Patrick Langano or Chris Jones, please say thank you to them for their support of CART, because they are very supportive of us, from DACDB to the portal to now the app and even our website. We work very closely with them. They are supportive not only of time and talents, but also money as well, and we are very grateful to them. So yes,
I expect Patrick might be at our mid-year assembly in a couple weeks.
Probably, yes. He is at IA this week in Orlando, but I'm sure he very well could be at that. All right. Okay, so the fundraising tip of the month was to talk to you about major gifts, because we brought that up earlier, and challenges and matching gifts. And so it's interesting that Andy brought that up earlier and we had an opportunity to kind of mention it. But the tip that I was going to share with you guys tonight was the importance of maybe finding that one person, whether it's in a club or in a district, that would like to offer a match. And maybe it is, I'll give you an example, and I always say my club, even though I just changed clubs, for the first time in 15 years, but Michelle's club has typically always had someone in the club who would match every month whatever was raised in the bucket. It could be up to $20 or $30 or $50, whatever. The Rotary Club of Asheville in 7670 still does that, and they are very successful with it. They have a different donor who matches the bucket every month, up to $50. Well, what that means is an individual every month is giving $50 to the CART fund. And you could certainly have, if with a club that size, they could have more than one person if they wanted, but you could have one person that does it every month. But in effect, what that does is double your blue bucket contributions in a year. Many clubs also go out and find a community partner that would do that as well. In Carol's district in upstate South Carolina, and in her club in Anderson, they have several restaurants in town that have the either buckets or containers where they collect funds that they go out and get. And then you could have someone, but you could just say to a business like a restaurant that, would you match whatever we raise in this month? And so there are ways to double or triple your club's giving to CART just with that. But also matching as far as maybe years ago, we used to have a donor that would match anything that was raised at a district conference weekend up to $1,000. Didn't matter what district it was, but that person is no longer with us, so we don't have that anymore. But maybe you have someone that says, I really want to do something, but I don't know what to do. Let's be creative. Let's find a way to get them involved, and to not just increase giving, but increase the engagement as well by getting people more and more involved. And maybe they want the recognition, maybe they don't. We can certainly work around that. Businesses and non-Rotarians are a great way to think about that and think differently than we've been thinking, because our Rotarians are already, for the majority, giving. Now, there are districts where they're not as much yet, and we're working on that as well. I'm really glad. I don't know if Becky is listening at all tonight, but she's on with us as well. Her husband, Mark, is in line to become a governor, and they're wanting to learn more. And I was just at their club a few weeks back, and they're getting more involved. And that's what we want. We want our district governor line to be more involved and to be engaged. And so we appreciate that for sure. But those challenges and it's not too late to think about that before the year end. Maybe it's all in one month. Maybe it's on one day. Maybe it's someone next year that wants to do something on Giving Tuesday. Maybe it's on the longest day of the year. Maybe it's, which is June, right? The longest day of the year is that summer solstice. Maybe, you can plan on that now. Maybe there's an event that's going on that someone wants to match anything that's raised at that event. I know Don has done a really great job with reaching out to clubs that are not currently participating in CART and introducing them. I mean, like outside of his district when he travels on vacation. You guys may remember he talked about that one month. And then he has people in his club that will match some of those gifts as well. And so there's a lot of ways that you can double and triple what your club and your district are doing with just things like matches, challenges, and major gifts. Do y'all want to have a discussion about that? We have a little time. I have a couple of other quick announcements, but we can have a discussion about that if you have questions. Andy.
So for 2025, with the annual meeting being at the end of July, is that going to give you all enough time? Because I remember, last June, rushing to get everybody's money that, they were meant to apply to the year before in. Are you going to have enough time for that to happen? Or are you going to do a hard stop?
There are a few exceptions. I would not say a hard stop because there's always a few exceptions. If something was sitting in a post office box, then we need to get it done. But with the majority of things going online now, it is certainly easier for people to do that. But we'll have a full month, quite honestly, which is way more than we should give to get those last minute gifts backdated. We typically, I will say this because Michelle is on here and she can hold her ears if she wants, but we typically have said by July 10th, we're done catching you up. If you've sent it in, the end of July, it's too late. Our books are done. We've done, but the first 10 days, right, Michelle, is typical that, if there's something in a bank account or, in a post office box or a check got lost or somebody forgot to mail the check, we can go back a few days, but we don't want to be going to the end of July anyway. Yeah. Great question. Thank you. Just want to remind you that we heard from Macon Dunnigan a few months ago about his Kilimanjaro climb, which will be coming up in June, July, and he is still looking for people to sign up for that. And if you recall, it's limited to 12 or 15 people. So if you are interested in either having him do a program in your club or something, please I'll be happy to connect you with him. That is for your club to do a fundraiser. It is not, a CART fundraiser. That would be for your club and your district to support you. And that is, but he is available to do a program for your club if you would like. Sherry.
Hey, just on that subject. So we have a lady here in our district named Daisha. Daisha's only 28. She ran her first marathon in Honolulu this month, January. So now she's going to Tanzania and she's running Kilimanjaro and she's looking for people to sponsor $1 a mile and all that. We're well over $7,000 that this lady all on her own has done. She's amazing. And if anybody likes to run marathons, if you have any passion, please let me know, because if you'd like to go ahead and donate to her, she's wanting to get to 10,000. So we'll get her there.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, and if you want to climb Kilimanjaro and do that as a fundraiser, I'm happy to connect you to Macon, of course. It's not going to be me. I will not be climbing Kilimanjaro. It's not going to happen. The other reminder, again, July 30th and 31st is the annual meeting. It will be in the exact same location as last year, which is the Hilton Airport in Charlotte, North Carolina. Kevin Kendrick and his crew did such a great job of hosting us last year. We're excited to be back there again this year. We will be having on Thursday night a reception with however many number of researchers are awarded grants. We'll have a little cocktail hour with them, and then we'll divvy up to go to dinner like we always do. and on Dutch Street, of course. And then on and then on Friday will be the annual meeting, which is from like 9 to 3-ish, 9-ish to 3-ish. Again, it's going to kind of depend on the schedule of who our researchers are, but we will follow the same format as last year. Everyone is invited to join us. We hope you will come in person if you can. The only charge to attend is the lunch fee, and then we do Zoom it for anyone who cannot be. Marlene, if you can't fly across the country that day, then we will be on Zoom for you to join us. Michelle, did you have a question? No? Okay. Sherry, do you still have a question, or is your hand just still raised? Nope. Okay. All right. Great. So we'll be, we are not releasing we do not have registration open for that annual meeting yet, but it will be in a few months. It's a little early for that yet. Some of you may have gotten an invitation to an online social next week, which is for donors of a certain level or more. And that will be next Monday night. We hope that if you got that invitation, please respond to that and join us if you can. If you did not get that invitation, then if you would like to increase your donation to $1,000 or more, then we will be happy to add you to that list and get you on that virtual donor appreciation night. We have a guest speaker. We have a researcher that's joining us. It's going to be pretty special. So we're excited about that. All right. I forgot to mention earlier about when I was doing the financial statement, so I apologize, about TRAC. So for those of you who may not recall, TRAC stands for Trusting Rotarians for an Alzheimer's Cure. It is a separate 501c3 nonprofit, and that is how we fund the operating expenses for CART. So a part-time executive director, postage, printing, little blue buckets, travel, attending Zone Institutes, House of Friendship, things like that. So we have an annual budget this year of $141,000 for everything. That includes a financial audit, all of our professional services, everything. So 6 months in, we're halfway in. Year to date income of our budget of $141,000. The income has been $89,000. So we're well ahead of schedule, and our expenses have only been $44,000. So we're way under budget for expenses and way over in our income. So we're very grateful for that. And I will say that most of that comes from interest earned off of our investments, but we do have some individuals who donate, some of them on the call, in fact, who donate individually to that cause, and we're very grateful for that. I am very gracious, and I feel very fortunate that we're in that financial position that we're in now, because I know it was just 4 or 5 years ago when Bill Shillito was in this role that they were struggling to come up with operating expenses every year. And so I feel very fortunate that we are doing so well in that area as well. And much of it, again, is because you guys are doing such a great job of raising money that we're earning enough interest to cover those expenses. So that was the TRAC thing that I wanted to say. There is another lunch and learn, in case you did not see. Of course, there was only one person registered, and that was Glenda Kessler. The January event has been canceled due to a scheduling conflict with the researchers. So there is not a lunch and learn for the month of January, but there is one in February, and it is on Wednesday, February the 18th from 12 to 1 Eastern time via Zoom. Registration is open on DACDB, so you can go ahead and register for that. And I did cancel the January one, Bill, so it's off the calendar. But if you would like to go ahead and register for that, if you would like to share it with other people, please do, so that anyone can join us. We will live stream it to our YouTube channel, which means that you can watch it after the fact as well if you miss it live. Glenda, yes, ma'am.
I was going to say, if you want a guest speaker, a researcher for your district conference, the best one we have had in our district was Dr. Paul Murphy from Kentucky. He was fabulous. He stayed around. Everybody gathered around him in the hallway. He answered questions. He was a real delight. He made a big impression. So if you're looking for one, if he's available, you probably should grab him.
Wonderful. Yes. We have a couple of really good ones. There's another one from Kentucky. Melinda Selenica is excellent as well. And from Marymount University, her name is escaping me, in Washington, D.C. Catherine Diaz-Asper. She is incredible as well. And of course, Dr. Barr from Pembroke is great. And I mean, there are a lot of them that are very good. So thank you for adding that, Glenda. That's a really good point. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to mention on public image, and then we're going to open it up if you have any other questions. If not, we'll let you guys go early, is just as a reminder, because I've gotten a couple of questions this week from a couple of different people, some new and some who have been doing it a long time and said, oh yeah, I forgot. We do provide you with anything that you need to do your presentations, to do your to little blue buckets. I will ship little blue buckets out to anyone that needs them at no cost to them. That is one of the expenses that TRAC takes care of, is to ship those little blue buckets. And I have about 2,000 left at my house. So if you know of someone that needs them, y'all know my husband's stuff got moved in this weekend, so I could use some space. He's actually, I will tell y'all, this is a true story. He looked at me on Sunday when the moving truck got here yesterday, and he goes, well, I guess it's official. I'm really moving in with you. And I went, oh, you're not here yet. I have 4 more months before I have to figure out where you're going. All I have is your stuff right now for 4 more months. So he was like, oh, you're serious? I said, absolutely. But I do have 2,000 more buckets that I would love to ship out. I did get a request from somebody in Florida today. I'll get a few out tomorrow. But if you need buckets to keep at your house, or if you know of a club that you just need me to ship them directly to them, please let me know. I will be happy to get those out to you guys. There's no charge for a club for that. And then we have postcards as well that I can ship you. And then we're in the process now of getting out the recurring donor pins, the Roger Ackerman circle pins. And many of you on this call, I have been shipping them to you for your club. If you do not have them yet and you need them still, please let me know. I am working my way through the list. But if you say, I'm ready to go out and start distributing them, if you'll send them to me, I attach them to a postcard and I staple them on there for you. So it makes a nice little presentation. I got a photo. Don, thank you very much. Don sent me a photo of him presenting them to Kevin Kendrick. Got his last week. And I know I have some other emails from Don that I have not answered yet. So I saw that they're there. I'm keeping them unread so I won't forget. But I can send those to you in a batch with a list of the names that I have. And then you can let me know as you have presented them. And if you need me to mail them directly to a donor because they're too far away from you, I can do that as well if you will let me know. And I have a running Excel list that I can check off when we get new people. And then what I do is I run the list new on the 1st or 2nd of every month to see what new people have been added. And then I'll email you if there are new ones in your district that you may not be aware of. And I will let you know that. So that is available to you all. There are a limited number of 6-foot pop-up banners and tabletop banners. So if you are doing a display at your district conference and you need one of those and you do not have one, please let me know via email. Do not text it to me because it'll get lost. I'm not kidding. But if you email me and tell me what dates you're going to need it, we can make arrangements for one of us that has one. They move around. It's a constant little puzzle, and we will be happy to get you one in time for your event, but I need to know far enough in advance because we're trying to keeping them strategically placed around the United States. And then in addition to that, if you're going out doing presentations, thank you, Milton. He sent me a list today of all of the club presentations that he has lined up. Tom sends me an email every time he schedules a new one, and I can get it added on immediately to our calendar of events so that if you go to the website and look at our calendar, you will see where we are out and about. If you are doing that, please send me your schedule. I just need to know the date, the time, the club name, and I will be happy to add that to the website for you. And as a reminder, the PowerPoint presentation, which we update every July, is available for download on our website. So if you're a district chair, if you're a club chair, if you are a board member, or if you are a Rotarian that just wants to do a presentation to your club, that PowerPoint is available for download on the website. There are notes on every page that tell you exactly what to say on that slide. If you cannot access those, some folks have been having trouble for some reason, let me know. What I'm going to try to do when I have a little time is to cut and paste all of those into one Word document, that then I can have that as a separate download for you so that you can just use it. I just have not had a chance to do it yet. I think I started it, I just haven't finished it, but I will get that added to the website so that you can download that, because I know a lot of people are not comfortable creating their own PowerPoints, and we don't want you to. We want you to be able to use what we've given you so that you have all of our same information. But we also know that some people are not comfortable just reading highlights from a page. And so we have all the notes written out for you. What questions do you guys have in the last 5 minutes?
Question, when you receive funds through the website into the portal, do you sweep those monthly into the investment accounts? I mean, how do we get that money in there so we're earning interest on it?
Yeah, so it's not on a regular, like once a month. It depends. So it goes, if you make a deposit into the portal, it goes into our checking account that day, the next day, really overnight. And then as funds are, we have a finance committee. That's the easiest way for me to explain it. We have a finance committee that manages moving of funds, and they move them constantly into investment accounts, more than one. But our financial policies state that they have to be FDIC insured, and they have to be, low risk. We do have one very large annuity that we were able to purchase 3 years ago when we got the $1 million gift for the first time. We bought our board bought a $750,000 annuity, knowing that the interest off of that alone every year would pay the majority of our operating expenses for TRAC, because we make about $45,000 to $75,000 a year off of that. And so that pays the majority of the TRAC expenses. Of course, that's gone up a little bit since then as far as expenses because of travel and everything else. But that's the one annuity. Everything else is fluid and is moved constantly based on the finance committee's recommendations and what's going on in the world around us. That's a great question, though. Thank you. Did I get that right, Carol? Okay. Yeah. Yes, Don.
This is a question that is going to need some deep thought. I just want to throw it out now.
Okay.
So people can be thinking about it. Because in my travels to Canada, I collect a lot of money there. And I've noticed that the CART Fund grants are available to US-based researchers only.
Right. And I got your email about that. I have not had a chance to answer that. And that will not change. That is part of our IRS 501c3 status, is that we can only give money within the United States. That's the way our nonprofit is set up. And so that will not change. And I know that's difficult because you do raise a lot of money in Canada. And so, for example, in the UK, they have their own nonprofit that they donate, that their Rotary clubs could raise money and contribute to, and then they give research grants for Alzheimer's. And so if someone in Canada wanted to start their own nonprofit and follow Canadian rules, they could certainly do that. But we will not be, because of the way our 501c3 is set up, we will not be awarded grants outside of the US. We do have clubs in India that donate to us as well, not just Canada. We are very multicultural and multinational, but we can't give money to India either. So, Bill Parker, yes, sir.
Don, the way to sell this is, although the researchers are in the US, the results are available to the world. And that's the key point. Whatever results the researchers come up with, that's available to the world. Everybody benefits. And that's the way to sell it.
Well, I've had no problem selling it.
Right. He does a great job of that.
But it would just be, it'd be nice if I could say, and Canadian researchers can also apply. The answer to that is no. So
yeah,
leave it at that.
Thank you for asking, though. It's a great question. Any other questions from anyone? You guys, it is 6:30. I am so grateful. I appreciate all that you do. I appreciate you being here tonight. I want to remind you to go ahead and register for the future conversations calls again on the second Monday of every month now. So I hope you will go ahead and put them on your calendar from now till July. And join us for this every month. We will continue to have new speakers every month to share great information with you guys. I apologize that tonight's speakers were not able to join us and you were stuck with me. So I apologize for that. But it's also a great time for some Q&A as well. So yeah, thank you guys so much.